Welcome to the Friday Pastor's Devotional here at Huguenot Road Baptist Church. I'm Bob Lee, and thank you so very much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Today is Friday, April 25th, 2025, and our focus today is the global impact of Jesus. We're going to talk about how Jesus, though he lived and died some 2,000 years ago, that he still has a tremendous influence on our world today. Our focus verse is Colossians 1:17, which says, "He is before all things, and in him all things hold together." I'm using this great little book as the background for our devotional today. It's called "Who is This Man?" by John Ortberg. John has been a pastor. He's a prolific writer. And you can find his writings very refreshing and helpful. And his mentor was Dallas Willard, one of the greatest spiritual writers in our generation. And so I hope that you might pick up this book and check it out sometime. But it's really insightful when you think about the way that Jesus and the Christian movement has influenced our world. Ortberg says he transformed culture, society, and even the definitions of our compassion, dignity, and learning. He says wherever followers of Jesus went, the world began to look very different. A few examples. In ancient Rome, where the sick and dying were cast aside, who was it but the Christians who stayed behind after the plagues to care for the deathly ill, laying the foundation for what would become modern hospitals. Or think about orphans, for example. Back then in the Roman Empire, orphans were ignored. They were cast aside. And it was the early church, following the words of James in chapter 1, verse 27, where orphans were cared for, and this was the foundation of what we know as orphanages. James 1:27 says, "Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress." So Christians were the ones who started the first orphanages. And we think about the status of women in the ministry of Jesus. They were often second-class citizens in the ancient world. They found, however, their worth uplifted in Jesus' presence. He spoke with them, he helped them, he healed them, he valued them, and he received their devotion and their testimony. The women were the very first eyewitnesses of the empty tomb and of the resurrected Jesus. And women throughout the New Testament were significant financial backers of his ministries. Wherever the ministry of Jesus spread, the value of women has increased. Is it where we want it to be? No. But is it better than it was back before the ministry of Jesus? Absolutely. Wherever the message of Jesus has spread, the value and role of women has increased. And I'm glad to say that we here at Huguenot Road Baptist Church value women in ministry and in all acts of Christian service equal to that of men. Women and men both receive God's calling and serve here in any capacity, from ordained deacons to ministers to teachers, etc. We also want to think about universities and colleges. Jesus' followers were the ones who founded universities to train people together. Schools like Oxford, Harvard, Yale were all born out of Christian conviction that all truth is God's truth. Literacy was promoted so that people might read the scriptures for themselves. And compassion became not just a feeling, but a virtue to be lived, modeled after Jesus, the one who had compassion on all people. So what other teacher or ruler or philosopher could make such a claim as Jesus, that their legacy would lead to medical care, women's dignity, children's protection, and the birth of higher learning? The answer lies only in Jesus. You think about it. Most leaders' fame was before their death, but the movement of Jesus really took root and became global after his death and resurrection. That's amazing to think about, and it's a truth that we can claim as Christians. He's still changing the world today, one heart, one act of mercy, one step of faith at a time. Well, thanks for listening and watching. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you Sunday. God bless.